You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And I don't know about you, but I'm actually pretty excited as far as what's coming to theaters in 2025. 2024, for me, I was only really looking forward to Deadpool and Wolverine. That's just me. That's just me personally. And it met my expectations. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it gave me all the Marvel feels that I wanted. But let's say you're not into Marvel, but you're, let's say, into certain actors. Let's say you're a Pedro Pascal fan. Got something for you. Let's say you're a Vanessa Kirby fan. You might know her from Napoleon. Got something for you. Or maybe you are a Joseph Quinn fan because you know Stranger Things. He played Eddie Munson. Got something for you. The trailer for the Fantastic Four dropped today. And it's a property. They've had a few different iterations of it. They had two with F. Gary Gray as director. Then they had one with Josh Trank. And they've had fair to middling success.
Yeah.
If you know anything about the brand, the Fantastic Four, the first family of Marvel, huge expectations on this movie. The movie's going to drop July 25th of this year, which means it's in the dead center of summer and has the weight of the company on its shoulders. There has been real discussion about whether this movie was cast correctly to get the feel of the Fantastic Four. But it has great marketing behind it. I mean, really ingenious marketing. The movie is set in a mythological, of course, in the 1960s, during what would have been like the Apollo era missions of the United States. They had this literal hour-long trailer reveal presentation, but it starts off as a documentary, as if you're watching a throwback documentary to the Apollo era missions with all sorts of footage and just documentary stuff. And then it led into a trailer reveal with the cast and someone who was interviewing them. And it was really, really smart the way they did it to create this world in which this movie takes place. What did you think about it, Twala, before I played the trailer?
After watching the lead-up video, which kept getting me excited because I was like, this is the first time I've ever seen any film company do this as far as leading us into the world that we're going to go into. I was really, really excited. I said to myself, they're going to be telling a very different story. The story is going to look very different. This is a different, unexpected casting for the Fantastic Four. They have had 3 bites at the apple. At the first two, I'm sorry, it wasn't F. Gary Gray. It was Tim Story.
Tim Story.
Yeah, Tim Story. For all that went into those, they were Fox catastrophes all around. The Trank one should never be mentioned in any cinephile's mouth. Burn that one to hell and back. But this one, I said, if they don't get this right out the gate, it is a problem for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. When I watched that trailer this morning, and I think it may have been super early when we first saw it. Super early.
I saw it like 7 in the morning.
Yeah, there was a little bit before that. I could not stop watching the trailer.
Imagine, since this is radio, if you haven't seen it, I'll put it out on Threads in just a second. If you haven't seen it, it's like a live action version of the Jetsons or The Incredibles.
Yes.
Where you can see it's a fantastical world of the future, even though it's set in our past. It's a world where it's like, wow, I could actually hang out here for a while. I want to see more of this world where it's not ours, but it's set in our world. It's a pastiche. It's a color palette which is very different than what we see in movie making. That's what's drawing me in. It's obviously telling a story which is going to be somewhat familiar, but the way it's going to be told is completely different.
Welcome to the Baxter Building.
We make a point to do family dinner every week. Sunday at 7, on the dot, no matter what. We're all here.
Herbie,
How's that sauce coming?
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that.
Okay. Okay, is this guy good or what? I want to add a couple cloves of garlic. Not because it's not delicious, I just want to add a little bit of zip, okay?
T-5.
Before we went up the first time, you couldn't turn invisible. Ben wasn't a rock.
The best pilot in the world right here.
Yeah. Best looking, he means.
And Johnny never caught fire.
Ben has always been a rock. Johnny is Johnny.
Hi.
And I am right here. Whatever life throws at us, we'll face it together. As a family.
I just posted it on Threads at Mr. Mo Kelly, MrMokelly. You can tell by the soundtrack when you get a chance to look at it on social media if you haven't already. It's big. It's grand. I love big storytelling. And this is an example of that.
It's not afraid of being a comic book film, something that Mark Ronner always wants to see on the big screen. This one is a comic book film where they're aware of it and they're acknowledging it. The big reveal at the end of the trailer is exactly what we want to see from the villain, from the big bad in this film. And after seeing them in these roles, I'm like, I'm all in. I am sold on every one of them playing these roles. Pedro Pascal will be known as Mr. Fantastic moving forward, similar to RDJ as Tony Stark.
Mark Ronner, did you see the trailer yet?
Oh, I'll say I did. In fact, I saw it, probably we overlapped while I was just getting up and I was still awake from the night before. And it sure is promising. I wouldn't have chosen most of that cast, but now that I've seen them in the roles,
right,
I'm 100% cool with it. And I think Eben Moss-Backrack from The Bear is kind of an inspired choice to play Ben Grimm. I'll say this. Tawala and I were arguing about Herbie the Robot, which is in the trailer, which, since radio is not a visual medium, you didn't see. I wasn't crazy about that, but I thought they pulled it off okay.
That was accurate.
But I got chills when they showed Galactus. And if you remember one of those earlier trash Fantastic Four failure movies.
Which one? Be specific.
I'm kidding. I believe it was the second one.
Right, yeah, Silver Surfer.
Yeah, right.
I'm kidding, yeah.
They just depicted Galactus as some kind of big cloud because they didn't want to have the embarrassing comic book Galactus with the headgear and like the big galactic breechcloth or whatever the hell that thing is he's wearing. I was tickled to death. I got chills seeing Galactus. And Tawala's 100% right about them not being afraid to be a comic book movie, which was the problem with a lot of DC stuff. They want to make it so dark and serious, like with Superman. You don't go dark with Superman. You don't go dark with the Fantastic Four.
That means we're all going to go see it together, right?
Yeah,
I'll say it. At least once.
At least the tickets will be good. I will see if I can find them for an earlier show for you grandpas.
Yeah, I don't like going to the movies at 11:30 at night.
Well, next Thursday we are.
I know that. We're going to see Captain America, Brave New World at 11:30 at night, which means that the movie won't start until midnight because you have 30 minutes of commercials. And then you got Nicole Kidman, and she has her 2-minute commercial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, how's Mark going to make it?
Because it starts at midnight pretty much.
By the time I'll figure it out. One thing that the first two of the Fantastic Four movies got right, among the many things they got wrong, was the relationship between Ben and Johnny, which consists of constantly screwing with each other, but still being family. Just like a couple brothers. Johnny Storm does nothing but antagonize Ben Grimm. And Ben Grimm, when he gets fed up with it, he'll take Johnny's Jaguar and ball it up.
Actually, I thought they got the Silver Surfer right.
We could argue about that, but that gets into some nerd minutia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, It's best to forget that film. It's best to wipe it from your mind. I love, and this is one thing that I think many of us were keying in on, The Thing, the facial structure, the
eyebrows. I saw they got the eyebrows right. Finally,
you know, the eyes themselves, the mouth, how he moves, you can tell it's rocky and it's heavy, but it's still his body. He still moves fluidly through all of that. So seeing that done perfectly was,
I didn't dislike Michael Chiklis. I disliked the costuming of him.
The rubber suit was trash.
The rubber suit, the eyebrows weren't correct. It just didn't look like The Thing. It was an approximation.
Well, that's a hard one to get right until the technology catches up with you. It's a big orange rock guy, and it's going to look cheap and stupid unless you have the budget and the technology to make it look good. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a Roger Corman version of the Fantastic Four that was made back in, I think, the 90s, just so that they could hang on to the license. Yeah. It's the one where Reed Richards, it looks like when he was stretching his arm, somebody stuck a glove on the end of a broom handle and just extended it toward the camera.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this, and you're going to think I'm nuts. That wasn't without its charms, because as cheap and shoddy and embarrassing as it was, you could still tell they loved the comics.
Yeah, I need a little bit more. Okay, I don't need necessarily an homage to the comics. I still want it to be in alignment with some of our sensibilities today. And what I saw on this trailer, again, I just sent it out on Threads at Mr. Mo Kelly. It was consistent with contemporary movie making sensibilities.
It looks terrific. It looks absolutely, it's like Mad Men era Fantastic Four.
And since we're talking about going to the movies together, when we come back, we're going to talk about this movement, these communal club experiences, the IRL film clubs, which are trying to get people to go back to the movies to experience these in person. Like us, get back together, watch movies together. Except I don't like any of you, and that's going to be a roadblock.
Just keep your hands in your own lap. That's all I ask.
Don't you dare.
I was going to make a joke about the Nuggets.
Nuggets, hand and lap, whatever. Same thing. Tomato, tomato. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Between 1995 and 2020, did you know that almost 2,000 movie theaters have closed in the United States? We told you about this. We told you some of the reasons why. 2,000 different movie theaters gone. Why? Of course, streaming fundamentally changed the business, changed how we consumed video content. But there are those who are trying to start a movement to get people like me, who are now and again movie goers, to get back going to the movies. Now, I don't know how effective or feasible it's going to be, but according to Annie Roney, who's been in the film business for over 3 decades and a distributor of documentary films, she founded the IRL Movie Club. In other words, in real life. It's a national nonprofit organization. And here's what she does. Her organization pairs up with theaters for a documentary film screening. I can say personally, thanks to streaming, I enjoy documentaries more than ever before, because there's a lot of content which is being created which didn't have the real estate 5 or 10 years ago. No one would have purchased these documentaries or put them in theaters. So the only place you're going to see them would have been maybe an HBO or a Showtime at best, or you'd have to find it somewhere on the web and download it yourself. But because of streaming, there is much more material out there. But this is going in the other direction, where you would go to an actual theater, and there's no question and answer session with directors or actors, but you just get to watch the documentary, and then at the end, you're encouraged to turn around and meet your fellow moviegoers. So there's interactive in that regard, where you're meeting people. That's going to be a problem for me because I'm antisocial.
That's a little creepy.
Yeah. Don't turn around and hug your neighbor if I'm in a theater.
Yeah. It's like that. Yeah, that's me. It may appeal to someone else, but the organization is now showing in 69 theaters across the country, including California, Colorado, North Carolina, and New York. And again, the goal is to revive movie watching as a communal experience. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I don't want to be a naysayer. But part of the reason why people are not going to the movies is all the negatives of that communal experience. Mark, you've talked about it. I've talked about it. Stefan's talked about it. Tawalla's talked about it. I wish the movie-going experience in 2025 was like 1995, as in pre-smartphones, as in pre a lot of the foolishness that you have to deal with on a Friday night or Saturday night. People were a little bit more respectful, a little bit better behaved, and there were just fewer antics that you would have to deal with. Now there's just so many things you have to deal with having nothing to do with the movie. It's a turnoff, and I'm less inclined to go to an actual movie theater unless it's a special occasion, like hanging out with you guys, or there's a movie I just gotta see, and I don't want to wait the extra 3 or 4 weeks to hit streaming.
It's really frustrating because the communal experience of going to a movie is terrific. I mean, it's why I used to frequent the New Beverly. I haven't been for a while, and I'm not on their payroll, even though you might think I was. Even if it's a movie you're familiar with, it's great to see it with a big crowd that loves it and is there for the same reason you are. But at the same time, you're like, could you just chew your popcorn with your mouth closed, quit kicking my seat, and keep your phone off?
And that's asking a lot.
Yeah,
and it's almost like I'm bracing. I'm physically uptight going into a theater because they're going to say, who's going to push what button and piss me off?
Yeah, I always feel like when we all go to a movie together, one of us is about ready to spring on someone, and it's up to the other three to be like, okay, just cool it.
My trigger is, and thanks to Tuwal, I've gotten the habit of sitting at the back of the theater. My trigger is someone kicking the back of my chair. You know you're kicking the back of my chair. Mm-hmm. You know what you're doing.
I refuse.
Yeah,
you
that's
will
why
not kick, touch, talk behind me, nothing. Period.
Movie talkers drive me insane. And it wasn't too long ago that I actually turned around and tried to shut up a couple of younger guys who were talking through a movie, and they didn't. And I turned around and locked eyes with them and was like, "You stop talking now."
And see, that's my concern. The last time I had a real issue to movie, I was seeing, I think, the latest Jurassic World movie with the insects and everything. They got the old cast together, whatever that one was titled. And I was in the theater, and there were these 4 or 5 teenagers who were acting up, talking, trying to be disruptive. I threw them a look. I threw them a second look. And then at that point, I realized it's escalating. And I didn't want to have to end up either in jail or on YouTube beating the crap out of some kids.
Yeah, I fully expected to be shot in the back of the head when I turned back around.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it was the first movie I actually walked out of in decades. I said, I can't finish watching this movie. I've asked the theater to do something about these punks. They didn't do anything. And at that point, I'm 40 minutes into the movie. I said, just give me my money back. It's not worth it. And I didn't watch it again until 3 weeks later when it showed up on streaming. And it was bad.
Well,
really bad.
I mentioned the New Beverly, and one of the things that I like about that place in particular is if they see you with a cell phone, they'll throw your ass out. And they insist on polite behavior, but not many places do that.
I go to Sinopolis in Inglewood usually. It's not a big secret. Part of the reason I do go there, it's one of those premium theaters where they'll bring your food and your liquor to you, and you're going to pay extra money. I am willing to pay extra money so these mother fathers don't bother me.
They got the robot, right?
Yes, they do. Wait, they got the robot that'll like bring you your food.
That's really?
So cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I want that.
Yeah, right. I'm willing to pay for those creature comforts if it means the 22-year-old knuckleheads who want to take out their girl to the movies can't afford it. I'm at that point in life where I want the exclusive treatment that other people can't afford.
Like they got to go to the lower level type of movie theater.
You got that. Y'all are going to the mom and pop theater on the corner and paying for those $5 tickets.
Yep.
You're not going to pay for the $40 experience that I am.
All right, Mr. Burns, you finally reached that point where you're paying to avoid the riffraff.
Get rid of them.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, even though I do go hard on AMC theaters, I still like going to AMC theaters, at least because I like the staff that work there. But I'm almost seeing the same people because I go late at night when I go. I like the staff at the AMC 16. I like the food whenever I'm able to get it. And even though it takes a dog's year to get it. I do like the eats. The Glendale AMC at the Americana, that one is really, really, really nice.
By brand, I know we got to go to break. Stefan, stop looking at me like that. Generally, I prefer AMC. If I'm just going to go to a theater, sorry, Edwards, Regal, whatever, I'm looking for AMC first and foremost, because that's the most consistent experience for me that I appreciate.
We should do it in real life.
We come to this place for magic. We come to AMC theaters to laugh, to cry.
I can't watch a movie.
To care.
Not really.
Because we need that. All of us.
I need the movie to start.
That indescribable feeling
I can describe it.
When the lights begin to dim.
It's like finally the movie's going to start.
And we go somewhere we've never been before.
No, I'm going to watch the movie.
Not just entertained, but somehow reborn.
Hush,
together.
Nicole.
Dazzling images on a huge silver screen. Sound that I can feel. Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
Start the movie, please.
Our heroes feel like the best part of us. And the stories feel perfect and powerful.
Empieza la película, por favor.
Because here, they are. AMC theaters.
What is she trying to sell you on? You've already bought the ticket. You're in the theater.
Something sexual, because she was getting it steamy up in there.
Very breathy.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Every day in Florida.
Back when I did the Mo Kelly show, we had the segment called News from Florida. And it is, as you might expect, news from Florida. Strange and crazy news. Except it's Florida, so it's not strange or crazy. It's just regular news. KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere at the iHeartRadio app. Thought we'd bring it back, at least for tonight. Let's go to Florida. And what is it I always tell you? What is it I always told you, Mark? What is it I always told you, Stefan, and Tuala? Do not go to 7-Eleven. Do not go to 7-Eleven. It's unsafe. It's dangerous. You might die. You don't hear of these problems at AM/PM, Circle K, or any of those other mini marts. It's always 7-Eleven. I do not go in 7-Eleven. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. In Florida, a 7-Eleven customer used a banana to beat the crap out of a store clerk. This is according to Florida police. Only in Florida. Caltavia Turner, 22, got into some heated verbal altercation, as, that happens in 7-Eleven, with the 30-year-old female worker, and the women exchanged quote-unquote derogatory comments towards each other. At one point in my life, I did go into a 7-Eleven, so I kind of know how it's set up. There's always this basket of bananas on the front counter.
Yeah.
As you're getting ready to pay for whatever, there's always a basket of bananas. Why? I have no idea. But bananas are always readily available if you should want to assault someone or purchase one or the other. At one point, according to the story, Turner, the 22-year-old customer, became irate and picked up one of the aforementioned bananas I told you about from the cashier counter, which I told you about, and threw the banana at the victim's face, connecting. The airborne fruit struck the employee on the cheekbone and left a minor abrasion. But I'll tell you this much. This never happened at an AM/PM.
Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. Oh, thank heaven. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven.
Have you ever seen a fruit battery, assault and battery, in an AM/PM? Or even a Ralph's grocery store?
If a cop had thrown that banana, he would have been accused of plantain evidence.
You cannot laugh at your own bad jokes.
No, that was great.
Maybe they should rename the store 18711. Hello, come on, let's have another one.
Steph said no.
187 killing, get it?
So wait.
Is this too urban for you, Stephen?
Okay, in the California Penal Code, 187 is the code for murder.
And he connected it to 7-Eleven. Yes.
It's a shame that I have to explain his jokes to you.
That was a deep cut, though.
It was deserved.
That was really good.
It was.
Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. Oh,
wonder, no one is packing at 7-Eleven. You would think that's the place that's going to get robbed. They're not carrying any heat under the counter, especially in Florida, of all places. Nah. Isn't everyone packing?
Nah, not 7-Eleven.
Look, 7-Eleven. If I were unfortunately working at 7-Eleven, yes, something has gone wrong in my life. But in the event I find myself working at 7-Eleven, I'm definitely packing heat under that counter. And if someone hits me in the head with a banana, you can bet, shoot this motherfucker. I'm not going to allow you to hit me with a banana.
That's where you draw the line?
That's right. Now, you can throw an apple at me. Okay, you can throw an orange at me. Damn it, not a banana. Shoot this motherfucker. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. When we come back, zombies are back in the news. If you don't know, Tuala has this fixation and predilection, I guess you could call it, and fear and phobia of zombies. Zombie spiders exist, and we'll tell you about them next. Now Mark Ronner has the real news.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
But let me reset for you. Tuala Sharp, who produces the show, is a conspiracy theorist of the worst kind. He believes that credit cards are from the devil. He believes that the zombie apocalypse is upon us. I don't know if he believes that the earth is flat and we didn't land on the moon, but he's out there. He's out there. But one of his main conspiracy theories or fears is that there is a zombie apocalypse which is coming our way that our government will not tell us about. So he keeps feeding me stories as evidence that the approaching apocalypse by way of zombies is coming. Is that accurate, Tuala?
That's pretty accurate. It's pretty spot on. I mean, you've told no lies that the zombie apocalypse is upon us, and we keep seeing more and more evidence of it coming around. You know, everyone thought Last of Us, this is a good show on Max or HBO or whatever. But every time I turn around, there's yet another story that proves Last of Us to be the leading prevailing theory on what it is that's going to be our very undoing. Our very undoing.
Explain to us what The Last of Us is about real quick.
Now, Last of Us is a series wherein the world or the end of the world is brought about by an invasive fungi that spreads and corrupts the mind and brain of the host and only wants to spread. The only thing that the fungi wants to do is spread. I once thought it was going to be from the meat that we eat and all the drugs and pesticides and everything that's put into what we eat. I thought that was going to be the thing that turns us into zombies. But more and more, these stories of these fungi that are corrupting the brains of their hosts. Yeah.
This is from The Last of Us.
You're also an epidemiologist. I presume the prospect of a viral pandemic keeps you up at night as well.
No.
No?
No.
All right, well, that's our show.
No, mankind has been at war with the virus from the start. Sometimes millions of people die, as in an actual war, but in the end, we always win.
But you, just to be clear, you do think microorganisms pose a threat?
Oh, in the most dire terms.
Bacteria?
No.
You like saying no?
Yes.
Not bacteria, not viruses, so...
Fungus. Yes, that's the usual response. Fungi seem harmless enough. Many species know otherwise, because there are some fungi who seek not to kill, but to control. Let me ask you, where do we get LSD from?
Where do you get it from?
It comes from ergot, a fungus. Psilocybin, also a fungus. Viruses can make us ill, but fungi can alter our very minds. There's a fungus that infects insects, gets inside an ant, for example, travels through its circulatory system to the ant's brain and then floods it with hallucinogens, thus bending the ant's mind to its will. The fungus starts to direct the ant's behavior, telling it where to go, what to do, like a puppeteer with a marionette. And it gets worse. The fungus needs food to live, so it begins to devour its host from within, replacing the ant's flesh with its own. But it doesn't let its victim die, no. It keeps its puppet alive by preventing decomposition. How? Where do we get penicillin from?
Fungus.
Oh.
Dr. Schoenheiss, you're in distress.
Fungal infection of this kind is real, but not in humans.
True, fungi cannot survive if its host's internal temperature is over 94 degrees. And currently there are no reasons for fungi to evolve to be able to withstand higher temperatures. But what if that were to change? What if, for instance, the world were to get slightly warmer? Well, now, there is reason to evolve. One gene mutates, and an Ascomycetia, Candida, ergot, Cordyceps, Aspergillus, any one of them could become capable of burrowing into our brains and taking control, not of millions of us, but billions of us. Billions of puppets with poisoned minds, permanently fixed on one unifying goal: to spread the infection to every last human alive by any means necessary.
That's a cheery thought, but along those lines, that's from the TV show The Last of Us. This week, a new species of fungus was discovered in British and Irish caves, and it turns spiders into zombies in the same way, forcing them to leave their hiding spots and move into the open before killing them. And it's named after famed naturalist Sir David Attenborough. The fungus Gibellula attenboroughi, something I can't pronounce, changes spider behavior in ways that help spread its own spores throughout cave systems. This is that just in the spider, which is an arachnid as opposed to an insect, but the science is consistent, at least according to Tuwala, where after a mutation, in theory, it could spread to humans.
It does to the spider exactly what was explained in a television series. It literally infects this spider, causes it to do something that the spider does not want to do. The spider has no control. It takes the spider out into the open where the fungi can spread and instantly causes the spider to die, further spreading the spores or whatever of this fungi. And that's how this one spreads throughout the cave systems. Just imagine if we keep getting warmer on this here planet Earth and something like that. We're out walking around. You know, you see people, oh, we're going to go cave exploring. Hey, hey, hey. And next thing you know, they come out of that cave with some Gabellula arachnophobia or whatever. And now they're all, hopped up on zombification.
Yeah. I don't worry about this because I don't care what TV show or movie depicts the end of the world as we know it. I'm not trying to hang around for the after party.
You'll probably be one of the fungi heads running around.
No, well, that's fine. I will not be in my right mind, and I probably won't know what is going on. I do not want to live after the apocalypse, be it viral, fungal, nuclear, whatever.
Look, my need for vital meds to keep me alive long term and all the care I need, I won't make it, but I want to see some of it. I want to see some of it go down.
I don't want to see the end of the world. You, Mark?
People think they want a zombie apocalypse. They really don't.
I don't know what there is to live for after the collapse of civilization. I know that it's been romanticized in movies like Mad Max and everything. Oh, you can do whatever you want, complete anarchy and lawlessness. That's not the place I want to be.
No, they think they want that, or they think they want to live in Renaissance times. And the reality of those is pretty nasty, starting with the lack of plumbing. But I don't think you really want to be in the state of nature, because the state of nature is not what you imagine it to be. It's a little bit more inconvenient.
Yeah,
I could imagine.
They didn't even start bathing daily until like the mid 20th century.
Well, yeah, and we all died around age 40 and that kind of thing. But a zombie apocalypse, especially when I wrote a zombie comic a long time ago, and I did tons and tons of interviews, and everybody asked me, like, where do you want to be if the zombie apocalypse starts? I'm like, first of all, what a hack question. Second of all, a liquor store. Right. We're all done for if that happens. Like, you think you want to lay in some supplies? Okay, you're going to buy yourself a few hours, maybe a couple days. We're all done. You don't want that.
You saw the movie Armageddon with Ben Affleck and Bruce Willis.
Oh, yeah.
And Steve Buscemi is riding the nuclear weapon. Dun, 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 dun. And he says, embrace the horror. I would embrace the horror. We're all going to die. I'm not trying to survive any type of apocalypse. To what?
So you don't want me to tell you the secret escape routes and the plan of how we're going to survive for a little while?
Survival is not living. No, I don't give a damn. Okay. I'm either going to be a zombie or everyone I know, love, and care about are zombies. Either or. That's a losing proposition.
You could also gather your folks and make your way where I'm headed.
Yeah, you're probably trying to go to Catalina Island because zombies can't swim. I get all that. That's not living, okay? It was nice to go to Catalina for New Year's Eve. Don't want to live there forever.
But since zombies don't need to breathe because they're already dead, couldn't a zombie just walk along the ocean floor until it gets to Catalina Island?
Maybe. But we'll still have a little time to bask.
Okay.
KFI AM 640. We are live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
There's a lot of misinformation out there, and none of it is allowed here.
KFI
and KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.